Good morning, everybody. Saturday morning, bright and early, 7:15, and we're out doing the final test ride. This is going today, as I always say, I always do a final test ride before we hand the bike over. And we're on Lexmoto Isca. This one is the blue one, going out to one of our customers, David. Final test ride mileage. And I've got to get a final test ride in because this one is being ridden all the way out to Coventry. So we're going to crank up some miles. So had all its bolt checks, first ride, and just down to me to put the final a little bit of mileage on it. As always, we normally put about 10 miles, 10 to 12 miles, 20k on a bike. So we're out riding, nice steady 40 mile an hour. Currently in K at the moment, so I'm going to do slightly different. I'm going to rack it up in K's today. Now you can switch these clocks over very easy, just press of a button down here. There we go, 37 miles an hour, and we're in a 40, so taking my time. And while we're doing that, I can waffle on about Lexmoto bikes. Now, following on from the ride test of my LSN, if you haven't seen the ride video of the LSN, go and have a gander at that. Amazing bit of kit. And we've had loads and loads of questions, so I am going to try and answer them while I am doing my ride test on the Isca this morning. Now, the Isca, start with the Isca. Probably a little bit more money than what the Assault is, but budget 125, couple of grand, you can't go far wrong with a Lexmoto bike. Now obviously, depending on how you ride it and how you look after it, and that is what I bang on about all the time, is maintenance, preventative maintenance, riding it correctly and taking your time. That was a bit bleeding close. Got my eye on those mirrors. There we go, second lane. Thank you very much. Decent car driver goes around me. Thank you very much. But preventative maintenance, the first thing you're going to do, keep it clean, keep the road dirt off it, make sure it's all nicely oiled and greased, you're looking after your chain, and a preventative coat of ACF 50, which is your anti-rust inhibitor. Any good rust inhibitor, even a bit of WD-40 on all your bolts, just to keep them nicely lubricated, will stop any corrosion. A lot of people go, oh yes, but I've got a bike and it's rotting away, the frame's not good, all the paint's peeling, or it's got rust on the bolts, or the exhaust is rusting. Yes, because you've not done your preventative maintenance. If you look after it, it's going to last you a lifetime. Go and look at Young Viking on the YouTubes. He's got a Titan. Now that thing is 4 years old. It's done, I think, 68,000 kilometers now, and it looks like a 6-month-old bike because he keeps it clean, he looks after it, and he does his preventative maintenance. He's also spent quite a bit on new rollers, new clutch, tyres, brakes, the normal stuff that you would spend on a bike if you are riding it day in, day out, and it's never let him down, it's never failed on him, because he looks after it. Those people go, oh, my bike broke down. 9 times out of 10 you're putting the wrong fuel in, you're putting E10 in instead of E5. Next thing you should be doing is looking after it, keeping your chain adjusted, checking your tyre pressures, checking your oil levels, making sure you're getting it serviced on time, and not ragging the back side off of it straight out the box. First 500 miles, 3 months, 40 mile an hour, 45 tops. First service, get it out the way. Once you've done that, 50 mile an hour, or 55 tops, and that will get you 3,000 miles or a further 6 months, and you should be servicing every 6 months. After that, yearly, depending on how many miles you're doing on the bike. So that is how to look after your bike. So all those that say, oh, it rots, it does this, it does that, you're not looking after it. Customer has a Lexmoto Arrow, 7.5 years old, still going. Believe it or not, he came in the other day. Obviously he only services it once a year, still rides it, but on his warm days because he likes it. It looks like it's still come out the factory, and that has got nearly 90,000 K on it. So, you know, it just shows you a cheap Chinese bike, or a Lexmoto, or any Chinese bike will last the distance if you look after it. So anyway, let's go to the LSN. The video went up a couple of days ago. The thing has gone nuts, viral. Now we've done a walk around review, and we've also done a ride review, just a quick short ride review. There will be a further longer one coming up where I get out and have a nice long ride on it. A lot of people are saying, oh yes, but it's a lot of money compared to big brand bikes. No, it's not. It's actually about £1,000 cheaper than what you would spend on an MT, a CB, any of the big brand bikes. Ooh, squisho. And it's a lot cheaper. Now, had a couple of obviously the trolls when we put the photos up on the Facebook saying, oh yes, but the paintwork on it looks, I could do better with a rattle can, or it's going to rot, it's going to do this. Once again, it's down to preventative maintenance. Most 17-year-olds haven't got an absolute clue, and I was the same when I was 17, no clue on how to look after your bike, and also absolutely useless when it comes to maintaining it. No idea of how to do an oil change. The first thing they want to do, get on it, ride it, and every 17-year-old will do it. What's the top speed? How fast can I get out of my bike? How quick can it get to 60? Wrong answer. You need to be looking after it. Treat it like a baby. It needs to learn to walk, and then it needs to learn to crawl, or crawl, walk, and then run. So the more time and care and attention you pay to it, the better it will be for you. So, the LSN, what's it like? It rides absolutely lovely. It's got a 6-speed box on it. It's got the Aprilia, basically the same engine as you'd find in the Aprilia RS4, the 125 RS4, same engine for all intents and purposes. Nice little water-cooled engine, 13.7 horsepower and a 15.5 litre tank. I did like that big tank, very nice seating position. And someone did ask about the air scoops on it. What are the air scoops? They're there to just put some airflow across the top of the engine, basically aesthetic. But they do a job of chucking the air into the engine, but they are aesthetic. But any airflow across the top of the engine is a good thing, and you'll find it on some of the big sports bikes. Fully fed bike, you're going to have either ram air at the front, or you're going to have some sort of venting where you can get some venting across the top of the engine, because that engine will just superheat. And I can tell you that from my GTR, them big side vents, when you're actually sat in traffic for more than 5 minutes, as soon as you get moving, you get red hot air coming out the vents at the side, straight across your legs, and your shins absolutely cook. Is a characteristic of the GTR. So any air-cooled or water-cooled bike is going to get hot when it's stood in traffic, but those fins on the front, aesthetic, but they do put a bit of air across the top of the engine. What does it ride like? It rides absolutely lovely. Probably one of the best ones that I've ridden, just for the actual riding position. It is just darn comfortable. Now this Isca seat does pitch you forward into the tank, does bring your knees up. My knees are nicely tucked in on the tank on this one, and the bars are slightly lower than what the LSN is, so my arms are down a little bit. I'd say after about 30-40 miles my arms aren't going to be achy, but not as much as if I was on something like an LXR or an LSN. Achy wrists, achy back, sore knees, all the normal stuff that you would associate with riding a sports bike. But super wide mirrors on this, great to see the traffic. I can keep an eye on those cages coming in behind me, as we call them. And the final thing is, obviously was like, oh, but you ride test down a dual carriageway, you're doing 40 mile an hour. Yes, I know I am doing 40 mile an hour. If you know Milton Keynes, 90% of the roads in Milton Keynes, are dual carriageways. Everything is a dual carriageway in Milton Keynes, and they are all 60 or 70 mile an hour roads around Milton Keynes. So puddling around at 40 mile an hour, you've got an extra lane, go round me, not a problem. If I was on a 50cc ped, and yes, you're allowed on a dual carriageway on a 50cc ped, I'd be doing 30 flat out, so I'd still have to travel this same road on a 50 at 30 mile an hour. Is it dangerous? No, as long as you're watching that right hand mirror and you're watching what's coming down behind you. I've got a little bit of lane off to the left where the bicycles go, so worst case scenario, someone's coming a little bit hot, I can get over to here, get out of the way. But 9 times out of 10, I dominate 1 to 2. Don't want to be out in the middle of the road, not at 40 mile an hour, but 1 to 2 is good for me. And this is my normal test ride route that I normally do anyway. So we have 3 different test ride routes, and if you've seen the videos you'll know what they are. So the first one, out of the garage. Normally I film out the garden centre, we called it Dobbies. Down at the big roundabout there, down the A5, back down to here. We go up the hill to Little Brick Hill, back round the top, so I do my hill climb, and then back to the garage, which will put 10 miles. That is ride route 1. Ride route 2 is normally out the garden centre, and we go into Fenny, take a right, go under the bridge, over the canal bridge. That is ride route 2, and my ride route 3 is the quick one, which we normally use, quick test ride, and you've seen that on a few of the test rides that I've done. Out the garage, bottom of the road, turn left, through town, down the dual carriageway, up past Tesco's and back to the garage. That's ride route 3. That is exactly 1 mile. So we do 3 different routes. This one is 10, the other one is 5, and then the last route is 1. So normally, before I leave the garage, I will say to the boys, I am on ride route 1, and they know ride route 1 will take me 30 minutes. So if I take longer than 30 minutes, normally my phone is in my pocket anyway, I can call the garage, I've broken down, come get me, where are you? Ride route 1, halfway through ride route 1, and I will either say I'm heading to Granby, coming from Granby, or I'm at Brick Hill, and they know within 500-600 yards where I am. So same for any of ride routes, carry a mobile phone with you, but normally if I've left my phone at the garage, I'll say to the boys I'm on ride route 1, 2 or 3, they will do the ride route, they're bound to find me, normally within about 10 minutes. So that's how we cover riding. Going to the tubes now. Obviously we did a little bit of a live stream last night. It was too hot and I was too tired to obviously go on and do too much, but luckily Simon took over for me. It was just too darn hot last night, and I'd had 7 days at the garage. I've done 7 full days at the garage now, well, not including sort of last weekend. So we had obviously Bikesure Sunday, that was a 12-hour day for us. I had a full day Monday, and obviously I've had a full week all week. So hopefully a day off tomorrow and I'm not riding tomorrow. I've got a nice easy day tomorrow to take our time and have a ride out later on in the afternoon, but I've got dog show to do first. So we're going to crack up the last bit of the mileage now. I'm going to do the boring bit, do a bit more boring stuff. I'll catch up you guys in a few, and we'll probably do a little bit of speed up from here with a bit of music behind it, just obviously shorten the video, and I'll catch up with you when I'm heading back to the garage. So see you all in a few. Right, so we're back on the end of the ride test. That was easy, no issues at all. 11.5 on the bike, job done. It's a good one. Back to the garage, cup of coffee and a vape, and my favourite bit of road. Yeah, watch out for that corner, no down day there. Right, back to the garage we go. As always, if you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, thumbs up, notifications, follow all the Instagram and TikTok social media. If you like the bike, give a comment. What do you think of the LSN? What do you think of the Iscas? I love these. And we'll catch up with you on the next test ride. Don't forget, week after next is the ride out. But until the next time, guys, we're out riding another test ride. Be well, ride safe, and as always, it's a big goodbye from me.